All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Jason. I'm a Course in Miracles student and a channeler. And today I'm coming on to do a daily dose of hope. This is day 6. So, a daily dose of hope. I was guided um, to come on and give a daily dose of hope since the waves are about to start picking up, and they have been picking up. Um, and so I'm just here if anyone needs some help getting back on their surfboard to surf these waves. And so today, what I'd like to talk about is well, just a little personal thing, and that will relate to some other things. So, but what I'm going to want to talk about is the public self versus the private self versus your internal self, like all of the masks that we wear throughout our day, throughout our lives. And so I just want to talk about that. So first so I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about healing, and I'm going to channel about that. So that's what I'll do today. Um, so, first of all, yesterday, I was on a crowded subway, and so here I live in Japan, and so again, anything that I say about this situation or about Japan or whatever is just my own personal opinion, and it's not a judgment because I love this place and I've lived here for most of my life. So. Please understand that that's the situation, and that wherever you live, there's always things that you love and things that you don't love so much. Um, but what I'm doing today is just using this to talk about this idea, which I think is universal, that everywhere you go, you have a public self and a private self. And I think in every country, which is interesting, it's different. The way that you express your public self or your private self is a bit different. And so, yeah, so I was on the subway, and it's a crowded subway, it's rush hour, and people are pushing and pushing, and everyone seems, you can pick up on the anger and the what's the word? Um Not discomfort, but people are not happy with their lives. You can pick up on this kind of just, I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And you can pick up on that energy, and then everyone's kind of pushing. And, it's just that kind of feeling. It's like a war. It's like a war in a sense. I've never been in a war, but I just imagine that the rules kind of change in a war where usually you would just say, "Oh, hello, how you doing? Hey," you're just friends with everyone. But then, in a war, it's no, it's everyone for himself. You have to defend yourself. You have to fight. You have to be angry. You have to bring up these anger feelings. You can't just be in peace, right? Um, and so that's what it feels like, right? And you pick it up, and it's hard to even like let go of it because it's still inside of you. You get all this anger energy, and this is similar, of course, right, to rush hour anywhere, I'm sure, in the world. And people are in their cars, they're beeping. That guy just cut me off. All this kind of stuff. It's war. It's war feelings, and you attack in your mind. You're attacking this person. Why did this person run in front of me? Why did this? These kind of things. But when you talk to, for example, for example, if someone's on the train and they kind of push you, and they're just, but if you actually make eye contact, they'll stop, because that they become human again. So I sometimes do that on the train just to see as an experiment, to see what will happen. So I kind of like make eye contact, and then it stops, because then they become conscious again. Because what happens is you become unconscious. So in these situations, right, this rush hour and these things, you become unconscious, and you think that it doesn't matter. You think that it doesn't affect the rest of your life, but it does, because that's you, and you're projecting these ideas out into the universe. This anger, it's not just this, it's not just confined, for example, to a subway or to a highway. These are being projected out into the universe, and these are the war thoughts. These are the anger thoughts, and these are the thoughts that are helping to create all the wars around the world. And of course, not to go down a rabbit hole, but it's designed that way. I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, so the idea that in these situations we are unconscious, that if you actually would bring someone out of that situation, they have family, they are a father, they're a grandmother, they're a mother, they're a sister, and they're lovely people. But you put them into the situation, and then they become unconscious. And so that's what I mean. And that's not just this country, this is the whole world. It's everywhere. And so, this idea that we have this public self and this private self, and that we, in this public self, at times we are unconscious. We're just working, almost like a robot, like a zombie. We're just doing what we have to do. And in Japan, there's an idea. There's something called tatemae, and there's something called hone. And tatemae is what the face that you show in the public, and hone is your actual feelings. And I think that's similar everywhere, public and private self. And just the different countries have different ways of expressing it. And so I just wanted to talk about that, that idea, that we are unconscious a lot of times in our lives. And it reminds me of that Radiohead song from that really depressing album that was really good, but it's very depressing. I think it was called Kid A. I think it was Kid A. And there was this one, I forget the name of the song, but there was this one line that really resonated with me when I heard it the first time, because it was me at that time. It said that there, that's not me. And so it was just kind of himself looking at himself and realizing, I'm not here. I'm not in this situation. This is not who I really am. This is, you know, and so it just talks about how he's just floating and flying around. He's doing all these wonderful things, but this is not me. This is, and so I recommend just checking out that song. I'll have to Google it to figure out the name of it, but it's a really famous song. A bit dark. So it's kind of like if you want to go deep, then yeah, that's a song to go deep into. Um, so yeah, but about that, yes, public self and private self, and that a lot of times we're wearing all kinds of masks and we're unconscious, but our minds are very powerful. So whatever we are doing, even if we're unconscious of it, we're still creating that. So we're creating that war energy, that anger energy, and we're just uploading that into the mass consciousness every time we're in a rush hour, every time we're in, and so that's why it's so important to be aware of your thoughts, to be aware of what you're triggered by, and to be aware that you're triggered. Because a lot of times we'll be triggered for hours and hours and we'll not realize it. That, oh my goodness, I was in a different state. They call it a fugue state, which I love. Not the idea of a fugue state, but a fugue is a musical form, not necessarily created by Bach, but I think perfected by Bach. um, but it's a fugue state where your mind is, you're not really there. And this is what happens, but it's very important. Our words and our thoughts are very, very powerful, and this is what the whole Course in Miracles is about being aware of your thoughts, being aware of where you are. And with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Course in Miracles. So I was reading this part here, and it's about sickness. And the Course in Miracles is also about every sickness that we have, we create. We've created all of the sickness that we have. And because we've created this body, the only thing that's real is our spirit. And so everything else is just a creation. And so there's this idea of healing in the Course of Miracles that I still have not truly come to terms with, or understood completely. And I'd like to just read a little bit of it, and maybe we can together, with the guides, figure this out, live. So here we go. So I'm reading from chapter 28, chapter 3, and I guess verse 2. So here it goes. No mind is sick until another mind agrees that they are separate, and thus it is their joint decision to be sick. If you withhold agreement and accept the part you play in making sickness real, the other mind cannot project its guilt without your aid in letting it perceive itself as separate and apart from you. Thus is the body not perceived as sick by. Thus is the body not perceived as sick by both your minds from separate points of view. Uniting with a brother's mind prevents the cause of sickness and perceived effects. Healing is the effect of minds that join, as sickness comes from minds that separate. The miracle does nothing just because the minds are joined and cannot separate. So, there, yeah, the idea is that all sickness comes from the idea of separation, that we believe that we're separate. And so once we unite, so if we see, so the idea here is, uh, do not allow your brother to be sick, for if he is, have you abandoned him to his own dream by sharing it with him? So That's the idea that we believe in sickness and that we create it. And then if we also co-create it with another person. So by brother, what they mean is just everyone. So you co-create the sickness. So um, I find it's a really wonderful idea, but in practice, I have not truly experienced it 100%. And that's what I wanted to ask about. How do you practically apply something like this? So, if, for example, if your friend is sick, and then you do not see that sickness, and I guess you see who they truly are, and that help. But how does it work? I don't know. So that's what I'm going to channel today. I'm going to channel that, and also about the different masks that we wear. So, whew, here we go. Greetings. We are Sanatkumara, and we are that one that you know of as Sanatkumara. We are the one that facilitates this world, and it's not important that you know that or understand that, but that is our job. We are facilitating this experience for all of you. You are, in a sense, living within our imagination, if that is something that is applicable or understandable for you, but it is not necessary to understand. We are facilitating this experience, and just understand that we are here with you all of the time, uh, experiencing all these experiences with you, but we are in a state of non judgment. We are here just to experience and to give you these wonderful, wonderful things. And we'd like to talk about this idea of healing, of understanding that you're one. And this is a beautiful thing within this game, you might say, that you guys have created, this wonderful game that you're all playing, these roles that you're playing, these masks that you're wearing in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful play, this wonderful movie that you're creating every day. And what we would say is that, yes, some of the ideas that are in this book that this guide is talking about are quite revolutionary for the movie that you have created. These ideas are outside of the movie. They're outside of the movie. And they're once you use these ideas, you'll step outside of the movie and you become a director of this movie. And that is quite revolutionary, I imagine, for you at your level of awareness at this moment, to understand that you can step out of it and become a director. That if you see a character in a certain state, for example, you see a character, as this being is saying, a character that is sick. Yes, so you can step outside and become the director or the writer, and you can change the narrative. You can change the whole idea by just stepping outside and understanding that this is just a game, and that all of you are already one, and that you are just projecting your consciousness into this game. But once you realize that you are not the game is not you. The game is not you. The movie is not you. You are you, and the movie is the movie. And you are just having these experiences in this movie. So once you step outside of the movie, you realize that, and you realize that your brother as well, the one that is sick, is standing right next to you, and you see them as perfect and healed and wonderful. They are next to you, and they are made of love, and they are you. And so once you see that, then you can project that back into this game, this illusion, this movie. And that is how it works. It is just a using what you would call your imagination and what we would call your amazing powers to create. So your imagination is more powerful than you can ever imagine. And in this game, at this moment in your time, your imagination is seen as something that is in the way of working, right? You have these ideas of working within a cube. You work this cube with other cubes, and you type into cubes, and the cubes tell you what to do, and the imagination is getting in the way of the work, because you need to work, you need to work, you need to work. And this is the concept that you're in at the moment, but the imagination is actually the key. The work is not the key. The imagination is the key. You see, the key to these illusions is your imagination. It is your ability to step outside of this creation, because this creation is also a part of an imagination, of your imagination that you have all co-created, that you have all co-created together to have these experiences. So, as we've said, this book that this being is talking about is talking about quite revolutionary ideas within outside of the movie. They are not revolutionary. They are the truth. It is the truth. But within this movie, they're seen as revolutionary because you can step outside of the movie and you can change the script. You can act as a writer, you can act as a director, you can do whatever you want. You can change your role. If you'd like to be a different character, you can change that as well. You have the freedom in this game to do what you wish to do. And this applies also to healing. You see, in your world, healing is seen as something that is almost impossible to do. Within your Western medicine, of course, you only deal with the symptoms, and there are no necessarily cures for anything. There are just ways of treating the symptoms of things. And this is a hint to give you the idea of where these things come from. Because if the it cannot be cured, it means that they do not know where it came from. Where did the sickness come from? Yeah, they don't know because they don't want to see it, because that's not part of this movie. But once you step out of the movie, you see, it's just an idea. This is an idea that was projected into this world. And so you step out of the movie and you change the idea, and then you step back in. And that is where healing comes from. And that is the most practical way that we can say it at this moment. Coming from our perspective, that is as practical and as third dimensional we can get at this moment. And that is what we would say to you. We are Sanatkumara, and we love you very much, and we are very much enjoy facilitating this amazing experience that all of you are having. Mm. Whew. All right. Sanatkumara for you guys. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. I thank you for joining in. I appreciate it very much. I hope you're able to get some hope out of this. If you want to join the live Q&A question and answer session tomorrow, there's a link to the membership site below if you're interested. And if not, that's wonderful too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, ciao for now.